and welcome to this week's video episode of Ministry Monday. I'm your host, Amanda Bruce. Today I have the pleasure of chatting with Patti Such, who is an onboarding specialist at Rotunda Software. Now, many of you might know Patti, as she has been on the podcast before, and she attends our NPM conventions annually with Ministry Scheduler Pro. But today, Patti shares her experiences thus far in light of COVID-19, both as a member of Rotunda Software, helping us all with Ministry Scheduler Pro, as well as being a parishioner in the Diocese of Louisville, and as well a music minister in her own parish. Ministry clearly is changing for all of us. How can we minister through technology right now? Has it changed? Are there new ministries that now we have to consider? How do we prepare for them? How do we make them feel welcome? And how do we keep ourselves organized in the midst of the chaos? Thanks so much to Patti for her thoughts today. Okay, so today on Ministry Monday, I have Patti Such with me. Hi, Patti. How you doing?
I'm great. Hi, Amanda.
Good. Thank you for talking with me right now. So, Patti, what is your official title with Ministry Scheduler Pro or Rotunda?
I am an onboarding specialist. I started with the company doing some tech support, and I also use Ministry Scheduler Pro at my church. But mostly right now I'm in sales, where I'm talking to people who are inquiring to learn about Ministry Scheduler Pro and see if it would be a good fit for their church.
Okay, great. So it sounds to me like you talk to a lot of people across the country about their needs for ministry right now, and I'm sure they're changing. What are some of the things that you have heard or witnessed in ministerial changes, both in your church, in your diocese, and maybe some of the testimonials you've heard from MSP?
Great question. So many things are different right now. And many of the ways that we are scheduling volunteers and communicating with volunteers has really changed. A lot of places are using no communion ministers. A lot of places are using just a few. Some have no readers, some have one reader. We've just seen all across the board, many different ways throughout different dioceses, throughout different churches within a diocese as how they're using their volunteers. But the main thing we're finding is that I had someone call me the other day and they said, we've always just done this on paper. We put pieces of paper in the back of church and people would just sign up and tell us they wanted to serve next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not going to work anymore. We come in the door, we're not talking too much, and we are certainly not hanging around after Mass is over. And so there's no ability to say, hey, can you serve next weekend? And get those pieces of paper filled out. So we've definitely seen an increase in people asking those questions. How can we continue? How can we get started and use your program to schedule our volunteers? And we've had a lot of conversations with our current users who are like, okay, what do I do now? They changed all the service times and I don't need all these ministries. So it's been quite a journey, and we've loved being able to support our customers through this because they've got a lot of questions, and we even have a Google group and they ask each other questions, which is a lot of fun.
That sounds fun. I want to be a part of that group. Can I be a part of that group?
Anybody can, yep.
Okay. Okay, but you said something right now, though, that I want to kind of touch base on. So you mentioned a scenario where ministers would sign up the week before to minister, but of course, signing up for a Mass has taken an entirely new way of our being right now. So in terms of signups for Mass, for attendance, for those who attend, have you seen any trends with technology in this area?
For those to attend, we've seen within our Google group and with a lot of conversations, many different styles.
Mm-hmm.
There are programs that give you a ticket that assign you to come in or assign you to a particular pew. There are people using things like Sign Up Genius. We have a new product called unison.io, and it's similar, where you can make a event in a calendar and say the 9 a.m. Mass can have 25 people and then only 25 people can sign up. You can then email those people, remind them that they signed up. So we're seeing a lot of instances where churches are needing that. They might be only able to have 30 people come in, and therefore they've got all these people who would love to attend, but they can only allow so many. So that has definitely been a challenge for many churches to figure out, how do I figure out who gets to come to church if their building is smaller?
Yeah. How do I get people also involved, I think, too, signing up that necessarily don't belong to the church? This is something that we had at my church because I work in a very transient church. Have you heard of anyone like that where, you want to make sure that those who are not parishioners can still sign up for Mass?
I think what's a really cool thing to make sure you are checking out, no matter what system you're using if you're using a sign-up system for those who are attending service, is to see who's new in there. Capture those emails, reach out to these people who maybe have been attending your church for a long time and have never officially joined. So what a great opportunity. We think of the challenges we have right now, but we also have to remember that there are opportunities. There are opportunities to engage these people who finally have given you a contact. I think it's a great way to find that thing out, is about these people.
I think that's a silver lining right now to all of this, is that we oftentimes, like you said, don't get contact information from someone who's been attending for a very long time and maybe never signed up, or maybe they're new, who knows? Okay, so we've talked about those who use technology, but what about engaging with those who don't use technology? And I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but we probably all have someone in our ministry or in our church in general who says the following: I don't do email. That's a sentence I get a lot. So what about engaging with those who aren't using technology in general?
Most all programs, and certainly Ministry Scheduler Pro, can take care of your volunteers that don't use internet. I'm going to give you an aside with that. Okay, you don't have an email address, and we have lots of people who don't. There's not a church who doesn't have somebody that doesn't use email,
Mhm.
but they do have an iPad so that they can Zoom or FaceTime with the grandchildren. Please ask. Or do they have the iPhone or an Android phone? Because they can always use the app. And so you can still engage with them even if they don't have email. Within our program, when you send out an announcement, you have the ability to click on a button that says print for those without internet access. So you can always give them their schedule, mail these communications out. Something that's important, especially right now with our volunteers, is thanking them. Thanking these people who, you probably have less volunteers involved right now. So some are serving very often. And therefore, it's great to be able to thank them, whether you're going to print that out and mail it to them or just a quick email. But thank everybody who worked, helped out this weekend or served more than 2 times this month, whatever, you feel is appropriate. But keep them involved and give them let them know you appreciate these extra things that they're doing to go above and beyond.
Right. Yeah, that's very true right now. And also, I think the face of ministry right now and volunteering is changing, which actually leads me to my last question for you. So this one is a little more MSP centered, but I still think could apply for those who may not use Ministry Scheduler Pro. But for those who do use Ministry Scheduler Pro, how can we use it more effectively in a time when ministers are limited? I mean, we currently at my church don't use Eucharistic ministers, for example, just for now. So how do you, use it to engage and keep track and schedule people in a different way?
So many things have come up. One, we might have a new ministry. At my church, communion ministers had to be completely retrained, so I gave them a new ministry so that only those who are qualified in that ministry have been trained in the new procedures can be scheduled. We had a brand new ministry that we call hospitality, and they are squirting our hands when we walk in the door, taking our temperature, and giving us a worship aid. Completely different than what our ushers and greeters were doing. So again, a new ministry with these who are qualified to serve in those ministries. Some people have made themselves inactive or put in away dates because this is just not the right time for them. They're not ready, or they're compromised, and it's not safe for them to come to service. So those things all kind of come into play. And remember also that you might have opportunities for additional ministries, that you can engage these people who want to do something, but they can't be involved. So we were able to get new people involved to be hospitality ministers in this new ministry who've not been engaged before. Or maybe they're communion ministers or lectors and there's less use for them right now, so we could get them trained in a new ministry. But there's also calling those who are elderly and compromised and just keeping in touch with them. They're lonely, they need that. Or prayer trees, or maintenance projects around the church, or even those who are still picking up groceries and prescriptions. So use your scheduling program to do even more and engage with as many people. And again, if you can send out a prayer, a link to an NPM resource, something that you can send out to your volunteers, just keep them engaged. That's so important right now.
Yeah. I think our ministry, if we didn't realize that extends past the church walls, we now know that, our church is clearly more than a building. And I think our ministry is so facing outward right now past our church doors. I had a priest that once said to me, the doors swing outward for church. And I love that. It's the same thing right now. Okay, so let's say someone's listening to this right now or watching it, and they want to talk with you a little bit more. Maybe they want just your input on the best way to engage technologically. What do they do next? Can they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Of course, you can go to our website at ministryschedulerpro.com for more information. You can call my direct line or my email. My email is patricia@rotundasoftware.com, and my direct line is 415-839-5232. And love, try and shut me up is usually the problem. So I love to talk ministry, talk about options. And truly, if you're not using MSP, we're not a hard sell company. I'm not going to try and convince you to use something that you don't want, but I can help you determine if it's the right solution for you. And I'd love that opportunity.
Cool. That's great. And I'll put that email and phone number in the show notes of this episode as well, so that they can touch base with you. But Patti, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you also for the fact that you were helping all of us make some type of logic or sense of what feels like even now still a very tumultuous time. So thank you for your time, and thank you for your efforts to help us all stay organized in ministry.
Oh, you're so welcome. And always a pleasure to chat with you, Amanda, too.
Thank you.